Fandoms, they're a beautiful thing. They bring people together, spark creativity, and turn casual enjoyment into something bigger, something communal. But every once in a while, that passion mutates into something unhinged, let's say. We've all seen it: the aggressive gatekeeping, the toxic ship wars, the review bombing campaigns, and of course we can't forget about the occasional death threat. It's a phenomenon that spans across all forms of media, from movies and TV shows to gaming and music. At their best, fandoms create incredible fan art, in-depth theories, and supportive communities. At their worst, they drive actors off social media, harass creators into silence, and make global headlines for all the wrong reasons. Now, loving a piece of media is normal, but in the modern internet age, it's not enough to just like something. You have to pledge allegiance to it. It's no longer just a fun pastime, it's a core part of your identity. Liking a franchise doesn't mean simply enjoying it, it means picking a team and defending it like your life depends on it. The moment you engage with a fandom, you're expected to declare your loyalty. Are you Marvel or DC? Do you think The Last Jedi was misunderstood or the worst thing to happen to Star Wars? Are you a Dark Souls elitist who thinks difficulty is sacred, or you're a pussy? Every discussion, every debate, every hot take forces people into rigid camps, and if you refuse to pick a side, both groups will hate you. Now, before we move on with the video, I do want to know if you guys have some hot takes, because I like hearing what people will defend till their last breath. And it's also going to help my engagement because people will argue with you, and it works out for everybody involved. Anyways, at this point, fandom discourse isn't even about the content itself. It's about winning the argument. A movie or a game doesn't just exist anymore. It has to either be a groundbreaking masterpiece or an unredeemable dumpster fire. Anything in between is seen as weakness. Middle ground? Nuance? Fuck all that. If you dare to say something as reasonable as, yeah, it had flaws, but I still enjoyed it, congratulations, you're a cunt. People will argue with you, not to understand your perspective, but to convert you. Because if you're not completely for something, you're definitely against it. And that's where the real problem starts. Instead of engaging with media critically, fandoms turn everything into a tribal battle. If someone dislikes a show you love, they're not just expressing an opinion, they're attacking you personally. If a franchise changes something, it's not just a creative decision, it's a betrayal. This is how you get entire social media wars over fictional characters, people harassing voice actors because their character did something out of character, and massive online meltdowns over a trailer. Even worse, this hyper-identification with media creates echo chambers. You like that effect? Yeah, not too bad, huh? And in these echo chambers, people only engage with others who share their views. Hence, that's the definition. So if you think a game is perfect, you surround yourself with others who worship it too, and anyone who offers criticism is just, dismissed. On the flip side, if you think a movie sucks, you'll only interact with people who hate it even more than you do, until the narrative morphs from, this wasn't for me, to this is the worst thing ever created, and people who like it are dumbasses. I had something written in the script, but we can't say that on YouTube. At some point, fandom stopped being about enjoying media and started being about defending it. And if you're not willing to die on a hill for your favorite franchise, then in the eyes of the fandom, you were never a real fan to begin with. Well, actually, JoJo's cock was about 7 inches in the anime. Furthermore, the moment a new movie, game, or show releases, it has approximately 5 minutes before the internet collectively decides whether it's a masterpiece or a complete pile of shit. There is no grace period, no time to digest, no room for contemplation, just an immediate flood of hot takes, outrage, and digital warfare. And if a piece of media dares to upset the wrong fandom, well, you're cooked, bro. Like review bombing, for example, the internet's favorite way of making a point. The second a game has a minor bug, a show introduces a storyline that wasn't expected, or a movie casts someone that doesn't fit a fan's vision, whoo-hoo, oil up, baby. Thousands of people rush to Metacritic, that's what it's called, Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, or Steam, slapping that shit with 0 out of 10 ratings, often before they've even played, watched, or experienced a single second of it. And it doesn't even take much to trigger this reaction. Maybe a game studio delayed the release date, God forbid they try to make it better. Maybe a show included a romance that some fans didn't want, or maybe a character's face looks slightly different than it did in the trailer. That's grounds for murder. Suddenly, what should have been a simple piece of entertainment becomes a battleground, with fans on one side screaming about how the franchise is ruined forever, while others just try to do damage control. But the outrage doesn't stop at bad reviews. We've seen actors, writers, and developers get bullied off the internet just for existing in a project that people didn't like. The Last Jedi had the instance with Kelly Marie Tran, where she was harassed so badly that she had to quit social media. Then there's the case with The Last of Us Part 2, where everyone involved in that got death threats because people didn't really like where the story went. I didn't like where the story went, but I did not send death threats. And we also can't forget when Sonic fans collectively bullied an entire film studio into redesigning Sonic's face, which actually, that was a good job. Sometimes it does work. At this point, it's actually impressive how much power these people hold. The fact that some have lost jobs, deleted social media, or needed security protection over fictional characters is pretty fucking remarkable. People used to put hits on each other because they have like some debt to clear, not because Ellie is gay. Hey Vincenzo, you're reading this bullshit on the internet? Big Dick Rick 45 said that Joel deserved to die. You know who deserves to die, Big Dick Rick? You stupid motherfucker. And the worst part about this is that it's all completely inconsistent. One franchise gets torched for making a bold, creative decision, while another makes the exact same change and gets away with it. Some movies get ripped apart over minor flaws, while others with equally glaring issues are excused because they had hot. There's no logic, there's no standard, just waves of outrage that come and go, picking their next victim based on whatever the algorithm decides to fuel that day. We're living in an era where a single bad review can spiral into an industry-wide crisis, and at this rate, it's only a matter of time before studios start including "please don't harass us" disclaimers in their trailers. Now, if you really want to witness peak internet insanity, look no further than Fandom shipping wars. What starts as a harmless discussion about which characters would make a cute couple inevitably spirals into a full-scale, no-holds-barred Game of Thrones level war where feelings are hurt, friendships are lost, and entire communities are burned to the ground. Shipping at its core is just people having fun with fictional relationships. I do it all the time, like me and But somewhere along the way, it stopped being a discussion and became a holy war. Fans no longer just root for a pairing, they pledge undying loyalty to it. They build their entire fandom experience around the belief that these two characters belong together, and if the show, game, or book doesn't agree, it's betrayal. It's absolute, unforgivable betrayal. It doesn't matter how well the story is written or how much sense a pairing makes narratively. If someone's OTP doesn't become canon, they'll take it personally. It's just so fucking stupid. Entire online communities implode overnight when a show takes a different romantic direction. Friendships that have lasted for years crumble the second one person says, I actually think they have better chemistry with this other character. I'm just sabotaging my own video at this point. And heaven help you if you support the wrong ship. If your chosen pairing goes against the fandom's preferred couple, you're not just a fan with a different opinion, you're a problem. You are actively harming the fandom. People will block you on sight, accuse you of being a fake fan, and send you paragraph-long essays explaining why your ship is objectively terrible. And if your ship even has the slightest controversy attached to it, forget it. You're done. You're out of town. You will be exiled from the fandom faster than a character getting written out of a CW show. Ironically, even when a ship does become canon, nobody's happy. If the couple finally gets together, half the fandom will say it felt forced or they ruined the dynamic. The other half will be annoyed that their ship wasn't chosen, leading to months or years of resentment-fueled fanfics and angry Twitter threads. It's really a no-win scenario. And the wildest part is that they're not real. These are fictional characters, but to the most intense shippers, their favorite pairing is a hill worth dying on. Studios, authors, and showrunners have been bullied into addressing ship discourse because fans simply refuse to let it go. And creators who decide to make an unexpected couple canon have had to defend their writing choices like they're on trial. And God forbid if a ship gets queer-baited, because you will not hear the end of it. But nothing screams toxic fandom quite like the classic fake fan accusation, a time-honored tradition where self-proclaimed real fans appoint themselves as the guardians of fandom purity and police the unworthy. These people don't just love a franchise, they own it, at least in their minds. And they've made it their life's mission to keep the casuals out. It's honestly exhausting. The moment someone expresses interest in a franchise, the gatekeepers emerge from the shadows. Instead of welcoming new people, they grill them. If you're a woman in a nerd-related space, expect double the interrogation. The assumption is, you literally can't be a real fan. You must be a poser, a casual, or worst of all, someone who only got into it because it's literally popular now. But it doesn't stop there. Gatekeepers have strict, unwritten rules about what qualifies as true fandom. If you discovered Lord of the Rings in 2024 instead of reading the original books in 1978, fake fan. If you only played the last Final Fantasy instead of all 16 mainline games plus the obscure spin-offs, fake fan. And if you watch anime but haven't read the manga, and even worse, if you watch the dub version, your opinion literally doesn't count. It's as if fandom has turned into a VIP club, where only those with a deep backlog of trivia and a verified fan resume are allowed to have opinions. If you can't list every single Pokemon from memory, or remember the exact air date of the first Doctor Who episode, you're clearly not worthy. Ironically, the franchises these gatekeepers are so desperate to protect from casuals wouldn't even exist without new fans. Every single hardcore fan was once a newbie. Every beloved series survived because new people kept discovering it. And yet, the second a franchise gains mainstream popularity, the gatekeepers turn on their own fandom like it's a betrayal, as if more people enjoying something somehow makes it worse. Every so often, though, fandom toxicity reaches such ridiculous levels that the actual creators have to step in. Not to thank their fans for their passion, no, but to beg them to chill the fuck out. You'd think people would take this as a wake-up call, as a moment of self-reflection. But no, of course not. If anything, it just makes the worst parts of the fandom even angrier. And we've seen it happen time and time again. Like Rick and Morty co-creator Dan Harmon had to publicly call out some of the show's more aggressive fans for harassing female writers, as if sending misogynistic hate mail over an animated comedy about a drunk scientist somehow made sense. Even My Hero Academia's creator, Kohei Horikoshi, had to literally beg fans to stop sending him death threats over ships, because apparently, if your favorite anime pairing isn't canon, murder is the only logical response. And then there's Steven Universe's Rebecca Sugar, who made a show all about kindness and inclusivity, only to watch as certain fans took that message and twisted it into a justification for cyberbullying. At this point, it's kind of wild how often creators have to remind fans that fictional characters are not real people and that liking different things is not a crime. And yet, here we are. Fans get so wrapped up in their own obsessive, entitled expectations that they treat the creators not as people crafting stories, but as customer service reps who owe them a personal experience tailored to their exact desires. And let's be real, some people just don't want to enjoy something, they want to control it. They feel like they own the story, as if writing fanfics for years and arguing on Reddit somehow gives them executive producer rights. So when the actual creator dares to take the story in a direction they don't like, all hell breaks loose. They'll demand for rewrites, petition for an alternate ending, and in extreme cases, harass the people responsible for ruining their vision of the franchise. And the irony is that most of the creators who get attacked by their own fandoms are the same people who built these communities in the first place. The fans loved their work so much that they crossed the line from appreciation to obsession and then turned on the very people who gave them that thing. But don't be so negative, you know, there's some good stuff about it. Like, despite all the chaos, drama, and unhinged behavior that fandoms are capable of, not all of them are toxic. just most of them. In fact, at their best, fandoms are one of the most creative, supportive, and inspiring communities on the internet. There's just something special about seeing people come together not to hate something but to love it. Fan artists, fanfiction writers, theorists, and cosplayers don't just engage with their favorite franchises, they expand them. They create alternative universes, fix bad endings, develop insane and sometimes weirdly accurate theories, and breathe new life into stories long after they've ended. Some of the best fan content out there rivals the actual canon, and sometimes it's even better. And let's be real, fandom memes alone have kept certain franchises alive way past their expiration date. Like the prequel memes, those were fantastic. But beyond the creativity, fandoms can also be genuinely life-changing. The right fandom can introduce you to lifelong friends, help you discover new passions, and even inspire careers. But this video is getting a little too positive, so let me flip this and say some fandoms can make you hate the entire thing that you used to appreciate. You can develop lifelong enemies and just stop paying attention to the thing you initially loved. So if there's one lesson to take from all of this, it's that fandom is supposed to be fun. Getting worked up over a movie, a ship, or a game mechanic like it's a life or death situation is exhausting. If a show you love makes a bad season, it's not a personal attack. Shit just sucks sometimes. If someone ships a pairing you hate, it doesn't affect you. Focus on your own relationship status. And if a reboot changes your childhood favorite, you still have the original, and maybe, just maybe, death threats should never be part of the discussion. And there we go, video is over. But before we actually wrap things up, I want to know, what are your guys' wildest fandom moments, if you have them? You can drop them down in the comments below. I can't wait to read all of them. And if you enjoy these deep dive videos, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. As for now, that is all I have for you. Thank you all so much for watching these videos, and until next time, make sure to take care.